Okay, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go.
All right, guys, I'm back, and it's Tuesday, October 6th. And boy, is there ever a lot happening. A lot. So we're going to get right into it, and we're going to go over there now and get right into the news. All right, but first, I do have three people to thank. The following donated via coffee: Ray of Light, Christine Cunningham, and Gail. I'm sorry if I say your last name and pronounce it improperly, but I think it's Meniat. I'm not sure. Let's call her Gail M. Anyway, thank you guys so much. It's how I do what I do, and I do appreciate it very much. Of course, we've been demonetized, as have many channels that have content that they don't approve of. So, and I don't see myself ever beginning to do content that they do approve of. So probably I'll be demonetized forever. Okay. Well, let's just jump into the news here because we've got lots, but I'm going to skip this one right now, and I'm going to move down to here first and get into this. Did anyone catch the significance of Donald Trump's mask color change? Here he is in the when he went out to visit the people outside of Walter Reed Medical Center. And then here he is symbolically removing his mask at the White House, dark to light. And I think that's interesting. Very, very interesting. So I do believe that symbols and all of this cryptology is very, very important to these people. They do this to signal each other, and they do it to signal the other side, which is very occultish in the way that they do things. And some of you know what I'm talking about, and some of you don't, but that's all right. But anyway, that's why they do that. It is to send a message. It sends a message to us. Q has taught us how to understand their communications, and most often it's done this way through all sorts of things like this. Well, we know Q has said dark to light, I don't know how many times. So this is an example, and I think it is a fantastic example. So there we go with that, and let's get into this because this is brand new. This is smoking hot news. So let's get into it. Now, DNI declassifies Brennan notes, briefed Obama on intelligence that Hillary Clinton concocted Trump-Russia allegations. So this is from today, and it's from this afternoon, actually, so it's very fresh. I am just going to, if you would give me a moment, I just want to make sure that we are recording, and we are. You know why I do that. I have been burned too many times when I thought I was recording, and then I get over there and I'm not. So, forgive me, but I have to check. All right. Now, where were we here? Right here. Okay. So this is from Zero Hedge, which has a good reputation as far as I'm concerned. I get a lot of articles here. Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe on Tuesday declassified several documents, including handwritten notes from former CIA John Brennan after he briefed former President Obama on an alleged plot by Hillary Clinton to tie then-candidate Donald Trump to Russia as a means of distancing the public from her use of a private email server ahead of the 2016 U.S. election, according to Fox News. Now, we all know that. We all know about what went on prior to the election in 2016. Ratcliffe declassified Brennan's handwritten notes, which were taken after he briefed Obama on the intelligence the CIA received, and a CIA memo which revealed that officials referred the matter to the FBI for potential investigative action. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence transmitted the classified documents to the House and Senate Intelligence Committees on Tuesday afternoon. Today, at the direction of President Trump, I declassified additional documents relevant to ongoing congressional oversight and investigative activities, Ratcliffe said in a statement to Fox News Tuesday. We're getting additional insight into Russian activities from, redacted, read Brennan's notes, cite, summarizing, alleged approved by Hillary Clinton, a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. Yeah, that's interesting. And we know that. We know exactly what she did. It's just now the rest of the world is catching up. But how much can they catch up when the mainstream media doesn't pick up on any of this stuff? It's always in the alternative media. Mainstream media won't touch this stuff. And that's what is so frustrating. Because how do you reach the masses that are asleep? It's not easy. We're getting additional insight. Okay, we've read that. Now, this is Ivan, and I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, so forgive me. I'm going to call him Ivan P. Declassification. 1. Notes by John Brennan on briefing to Obama on alleged Clinton plot to dirty up Trump campaign by linking it to DNC hack, Russia, which, of course, we all know there was never a DNC hack. The hacker was Seth Rich, who just walked up and put it on a flash drive, and that's it. That was the hack. So anyway, it was the hack, then the whack, because he got that information. They knew that he was talking to WikiLeaks, and they offed him. CIA referral to FBI about the alleged Clinton plot, and PDFs. And there's a bunch of PDFs here as well. Working link for number 2, CIA referral to FBI on Russian intel alleging a Clinton plot to dirty up the Trump campaign by linking it to the DNC hack. All right, Clinton spokesperson Nick Merrill called the allegations baseless bullshit. Now, I'm reading what is there. I'm not a fan of that language, but however, DNI Ratcliffe said in a statement last week, to be clear, this is not Russian disinformation and has not been assessed as such by the intelligence community, adding, I'll be briefing Congress on the sensitive subjects and methods by which it was obtained in the coming days. A source familiar with the documents told Fox News on Tuesday that the allegation was not disinformation. This is not Russian disinformation. Even Brennan knew, or he wouldn't be briefing the President of the United States on it, the source said. There is a high threshold to orally brief the President of the United States, and he clearly felt this met the threshold. Another source familiar with the documents told Fox News that this information has been sought by hundreds of congressional requests for legitimate oversight purposes and was withheld for political spite and the belief that they'd never get caught. Fox News. And per the Federalist, there is no evidence the FBI ever took any action to ensure that Russian knowledge of Clinton's plans did not lead to infiltration of that campaign's operation by Russian intelligence agents. The CIA referral, specifically its reference to a Crossfire Hurricane fusion cell, suggests that the Obama administration's anti-Trump investigation may not have been limited to the FBI, but may have included the use of CIA assets and surveillance capabilities, raising troubling questions about whether the nation's top spy service was weaponized against a U.S. political campaign. Well, of course it was. We know that. Of course it was. The CIA was weaponized against the incoming Trump administration, and actually even before he got into office. They were terrified that he'd get in. Remember Hillary Clinton? If that bastard wins, we're all going to hang from nooses. Yeah, well, she had reason to say that. First time has happened when I tried to return tweet story in the Federalist regarding the DNI's handwritten notes about Hillary's effort to push the Russian narrative. Twitter put this up. So Twitter is censoring the story. No mainstream media is reporting on it. What's changed? Nothing. Nothing has changed. And this is how they're going to play it. It's the good thing about all this is the one good thing. Well, there's probably several good things, but one of the good things to come out of this is the fact that America is waking up to the fact that we do not have news in this country. We don't have it in Canada. I'd say North America does not have real news anymore. The only people that are reporting the real news are the people that are out on the street, people like Andy No, and alternative media sources. That's it. Sometimes Fox News, but Fox News is inconsistent. They're fine with some things and not with others. Some shows on Fox are okay, others aren't. So, yeah, it's sad. And people are waking up to that, and they're realizing they've been lied to all this time. That the news it's just a storybook hour, basically. That's what it is now. It's a storybook hour. We don't know what they're telling us. We don't know if what they're telling us is true. We don't even know if the pictures they're showing us are true. They manufacture everything these days. So, yeah. Anyway, no surprise to me that Twitter is censoring that. You know, as we noted last week, after Ratcliffe previewed the allegation, on September 7th, 2016, U.S. intelligence officials forwarded an investigative referral to former FBI officials James Comey and Peter Strzok concerning allegations that Hillary Clinton approved a plan to smear then-candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Russian President Vladimir Putin and Russian hackers, according to information given to Senator Lindsey Graham by the Director of National Intelligence. According to Fox News' Chad Pergram, in late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging that U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump after one of Clinton's foreign policy advisors proposed vilifying Trump by stirring up a scandal, claiming interference by Russian security services. And remember when that's all we were hearing from Hillary is Russia, Russia, Russia. And she hung on to that well after she was, well after President Trump was in office and doing a fine job, might I add. Hillary is out there still stirring up Russia, 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 Russia. And then she brought it up again right before this election. Well, it's to her own detriment. That is for sure. Chad Pergram says DNI info to Graham. In late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging that U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved a campaign plan to stir up scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. DNI info to Graham by tying him to Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democratic National Committee. The IC does not know the accuracy of this allegation or the extent to which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. Well, we know that the whole Russian thing has been looked into ad nauseum, and a lot of money has been paid, upwards of $50 million of taxpayer money has funded an investigation that proves absolutely nothing. I'm telling you, Trump must be the cleanest politician that's ever lived, because in all this time and all these people and all this money, they haven't been able to dig up any dirt that has actually stuck to him. That says a lot. Could you or I stand up to that? Well, I think I could, but then I don't know. I mean, we've all done things in our past that we're not proud of or whatever, but, you know, for a politician to get as high as the president and them not to be able to find any dirt on him, that's quite extraordinary, if you ask me. So we're going to go on now and get into the rest, because there's lots to get to tonight. And we looked at that. Let's take a look at this. Can't remember what this is, but I'm sure it's something good. Oh yes, this might interest you guys in the States. It definitely interests those listeners that are in Canada. Government of Canada is tendering bids for service providers for quarantine facilities, isolation sites. There are 11 sites in 9 cities. 11 sites in 9 cities. And if you go, I mean, it's right there on government website. Government of Canada, tender notice, letter of interest. The Government of Canada needs products and services in support of Canada's response to COVID-19. And they're also, I believe, looking to hire people for that. Okay, it says Public Health Agency Canada is currently managing 11 designated quarantine sites in 9 cities across Canada with capacity to lodge up to 1,600 travelers. Interesting. With capacity to lodge up to 1,600 travelers in Annex C of the RFI potential future designated quarantine sites. Locations near high volume ports of entry are listed. Now, these are all near airports, trains, whatever, and they're supposedly for travelers. And I know within Canada, like if I go to another province in Canada, then I have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And then when I come back to Ontario, I have to quarantine for 2 more weeks. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just for that or what it's for, but it's interesting nonetheless. So I brought it to you, and I'm going to stay on top of that. Well, not literally on top of it, but you know what I mean. All right. So let's go on now and take a look at the next thing from Charlie Kirk. Let me get this straight. Hillary Clinton planned, financed, and executed the Russian hoax. The intel agencies knew about it and briefed Obama on it, and no one seems to care. Where is Adam Schiff? Where is Rachel Maddow? This is a bombshell, and they're completely ignoring it. Well, that tells us everything we want to know about it, doesn't it? The fact that they're ignoring it. We know it's true. Well, it's got to be true. Anyway, if they spent $50 million and didn't come up with anything on Trump, then, and this is what they found, then, yeah, sorry, it's true. All right, and this from President Donald Trump. Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the radical left Democrats were just playing games with the desperately needed workers' stimulus payments. They just wanted to take care of Democrat failed high crime cities and states. They were never in it to help the workers, and they never will be. And that's true. So, as I'm sure you're aware, there's a big, huge kerfluffle today. Everybody's calling out Trump for denying the stimulus package, but the problem is that the Democrats packed it full of pork. There was stimulus payments to illegals and a whole bunch of other stuff. And basically what Trump is saying, he says they're just playing games because they want to take care of the Democrat failed high crime cities and states. So, yeah. Very interesting, but anyway, everybody is dissing on Trump, and it has nothing to do with Trump, because they knew full well when they put that in there that the Republicans were not going to pass it. Come on. Anyway, and I like this, guys. Come on, man, you know the thing. Anyway, so let me get this straight. 18 people connected to the president have COVID, and not one Democrat. Like lightning striking 1 million times in one place. Yeah, that's about what it is like. Yeah. 18 people connected to the president, not one Democrat. Very, very interesting, if you ask me. What are the odds? No, really, what are the odds? Probably somebody could calculate the odds, but not me. Not a math whiz. All right. 45 out of 50 U.S. governors did not force COVID-19 infected patients into nursing homes, but 5 of them did. All Democrats. Andrew Cuomo, New York, Tom Wolf, Pennsylvania, Phil Murphy, New Jersey, Gavin Newsom, California, Gretchen Whitmer, boy, she's a winner, Michigan. Yeah. So, and just from those 5 states, 5 out of all of them, it accounts for nearly 40% of all COVID-19 deaths in the United States. That's not an accident, that's premeditated murder. And they know it. And you know who else did it? Canada. They did the same thing. It's disgusting. It's past disgusting. I don't know how these men and that woman can sleep at night. But, you know, the sad thing is that they probably sleep just fine. They have no conscience. You know, if you have a conscience, it might keep you up at night. Might make you think, gee, I shouldn't have done that. That was really, really bad. No. And you think they would do it again? Absolutely. So, yeah. All right. Let's look at this. Soros operative openly pines for America to get overthrown and conquered by foreign powers. These leftists hate America, and we know they do, and we know George Soros does. That's what his life goal is. The demise of the USA is his life goal. Imagine having that as your lifetime goal. Really. Like, I mean, these people must not believe that they will die and face their creator. They mustn't believe that, because otherwise, I don't know why they would do the things. Imagine, I mean, dedicating your whole life to destroying something. Now, I could see if that was child trafficking or something like that, something worthy, but the United States of America? Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not, but yeah, this guy right here, who's older than dirt, really. In fact, I think he might be older than dirt. I don't know. But anyway, a veteran operative of the George Soros network is openly pining on social media for a foreign invader to march into the U.S. and take over. The self-described queer atheist social justice warrior Zach Ford made the declaration on his Twitter account. Ford works as a press secretary for the Alliance for Justice, a left-wing special interest group that has been funded by the Soros network. Well, what left-wing special interest group isn't funded by Soros? Please tell me. He had previously written for Think Progress before the fake news propaganda outlet went belly up last year. Anybody else feeling like this would be a great time for the U.S. to be conquered? Like, not a violent war, just a really peaceful takeover. More like an intervention by all the other friendly democracies out there who've been watching what's been going on here, Ford wrote in a tweet. Ford's dream is that socialist countries revoke U.S. sovereignty and take over because Orange Man bad or something. Here is Ford's idea of an ultra-effeminate coup that would effectively revoke democracy for the American people because of his feelings. And we know it's all about his feelings. Everything. The world does revolve around him. United States, do you know why we brought you here today? Your Constitution was built on a foundation of inequality. All your branches of government have been co-opted by minority rule, and you're endangering the whole world with your ineptness. In short, you're toxic, and we're not putting up with it anymore. We're here to give you a fresh start, a nice little makeover, and something more resembling the much better forms of democracy we've figured out since you got it all started back in 1619. 1776. And of course, we know that is a reference to critical race theory. They say that America began in 1619. It didn't. It began in 1776. All right. We're such a hot mess, and it sounds so much easier to fix things if we just got a full reboot instead of trying to make work everything as we have it now. These are my uplifting dystopian thoughts of the day, he wrote to conclude his thoughts. Since when is calling on America to be invaded an uplifting thought? Ford may get his wish if his paymaster Soros has his way. His operatives have been diligently planning a color revolution that intends to oust President Trump from office by any means necessary. Big League Politics has reported on organizations like the Transition Integrity Project that exist to gaslight public officials and grease the skids for an anti-Trump coup to take place after the election, regardless of what the people decide. A Soros-backed election integrity group is setting the stage for a revolution against President Donald Trump after November's election. And we've been hearing this. That's the rumors everywhere. The Transition Integrity Project, an organization featuring a bipartisan group of Trump haters, is claiming that President Donald Trump will cause violence if he disputes the upcoming election results. They are running simulations that they claim indicate that Trump and his supporters will create mayhem. All of our scenarios ended in both street-level violence and political impasse, said Rosa Brooks, a professor of law and policy at Georgetown University who set up the TIP. The law is essentially, it's almost helpless against a president who's willing to ignore it, she added. Oh my. Revolver noted that Brooks is an operative of George Soros with ties to his Open Society Institute going back decades. She served as special counsel to the president at the Open Society Institute in New York from 2006 to 2007. Brooks' deep connection to Soros have helped her successfully navigate the ranks of Washington, D.C. elite. She was senior advisor to Assistant Secretary Harold Hongju Ko at the U.S. State Department. She taught at the University of Virginia School of Law before moving over to Georgetown. She is also on the Advisory Committee of National Security Action and the Steering Committee of the Leadership Council for Women in National Security. Her deep state bona fides are second to none. Brooke hopes that policymakers act on the finding of her study, adding that state governors, attorney generals, legislative leaders, and secretaries of state need to think through these issues now and understand the electoral system and relevant laws now, and not wait until election day to think about everything that could go wrong. Revolver believes that this TIP group may be the organization tasked with fomenting a color revolution to get President Trump out of office, regardless of the results of November's election. They compared Brooks' recent Washington Post op-ed with the Democracy Playbook, a guide to color revolutions published by the globalist Brookings Institution. They concluded that TIP is about creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps Trump from a second presidential term, regardless of what the American people decide. So they don't care what we, the people, want. They don't care that he is a duly elected president, and they don't care if he is duly elected again. They want him out. So the Soros network and its operatives should be booted from the America, like what happened in Hungary, or worse, for their coordinated subversive efforts against the Bill of Rights and Constitution. I could not agree more, and I don't know what's holding that up, really. He has done enough to, he's obviously interfering in our elections. He does so openly. So, yeah, how is that not election interference, and how is that legal? And why isn't anything being done? I know we're getting tired, but I'm telling you, as November comes closer, I'm getting anxious to hear something. That something is happening. Arrests, this, that, whatever. Really. Anyway, let's go on now. And yeah, let's look at this. But I'm going to warn you, you might need some eye bleach afterwards. I'm warning you. That's all. I'm trying to think for you guys. All right. Eye bleach, remember. Yeah. Charges filed against trans elections judge Erica Bickford in Allentown, Pennsylvania, including tampering with ballots. Now, this is from today. It's hot and fresh, because I like my news hot and fresh. I don't know about you, but yes, and he or she or he or I don't know is charges filed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's not funny, and I'm sorry that I laughed. Charges were filed against the election judge in Allentown's 3rd Ward on Monday. Everett Erica Bickford was charged with 2 election code violations, including prying into ballots. Are you sure the ballots just didn't scare themselves open? I mean, all right. Okay, let's come down here. The Morning Call reports the following. Lehigh County District Attorney Jim Martin on Monday announced charges against an elections judge in Allentown's 3rd Ward who was accused of tampering with ballots during the Democratic primary race for state representative between Enid Santiago and Peter Schwer. Everett Erica Bickford was charged with 2 election code violations, insertion and altercation of entries and documents, and prying into ballots, both misdemeanors. Allentown in Lehigh County in Pennsylvania is the focus of the song from Billy Joel in 1982, Allentown. The song was about the unemployed steelworkers in the area. Still looks like the city has, it looks like the city has changed over time. And, well, here she is again. So, during an interview with detectives, Bickford said she did not alter any ballots or change the voters' choices, but admitting darkening some bubbles they chose. I hate it when a man dressed as a woman comes in and darkens your bubbles. That's the worst. Martin said in a news release she estimated that she darkened voters' bubbles about 30 times. I think she could darken anybody's bubbles. But Martin said Bickford also said she trimmed ballots, jagged edges, so the machine would accept them. Bickford was not charged with altering or changing votes to favor either Schwer or Santiago, who were vying for the Democratic nomination for the Pennsylvania General Assembly's 22 district. Well, if she did that much, how do you know she didn't change anything? You gonna believe her? Him? Whatever? Now, that's somebody that I wouldn't even send to the corner store for me. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on now. All right, let's come down here and, well, let's just take her as it comes. I'm not sure what this is, to tell you the truth, but we'll find out together. Isn't that fun? Okay, new WHO, that's World Health Organization, estimate, so the new WHO estimate puts coronavirus death rate at only 0.13%. Less than 1%, way less than 1%. Yeah, that's a big threat, isn't it? It's going to kill us all. Lost in the reporting of the World Health Organization's new estimate that about 760 million people, more than 20 times the confirmed cases, have been infected by the coronavirus worldwide, is the impact on the estimated survival rate. If indeed 760 million have been infected at some point during the outbreak and the number of confirmed deaths is about 1 million, the infection fatality rate is only 0.13%. And remember, 7% death rate is required to call something a pandemic. So I don't know what this is, but it sure ain't no pandemic. All right. All right, so that's a little more than 1/10 of 1%, which the WHO says is the rate for the seasonal flu. I think the seasonal flu rate is a little bit higher than that. Anyway, the WHO's estimate in March of a death rate of 3.4 sparked panic worldwide, fueling the catastrophic lockdowns. Yes, a rate of 3.4 is 26 times higher than the rate of 0.13. The Associated Press reported Monday that Dr. Michael Ryan, speaking to a special session of the WHO's COVID-19 board, said the figures vary from urban to rural areas, but ultimately it means the vast majority of the world remains at risk, said Ryan, the executive director of WHO's Health Emergencies Program. Many deaths have been averted and many more lives can be protected, Ryan said, alongside WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Jabrises, our current best estimates tell us about 10% of the global population may have been infected by this virus, he said. The AP noted the estimate far outstrips the number of confirmed cases counted by both the WHO and Johns Hopkins University of more than 35 million worldwide. WHO's spokeswoman, Dr. Margaret Harris, said the 10% estimate is based on an average of antibody studies conducted around the world. Meanwhile, a new study by researchers at Wayne State University in Michigan found COVID-19 severity may be fading as the death rate falls. In August, the New York Times found in an analysis of data that up to 90% of people testing positive carried barely any virus. Times reporter Purva Mandavili summarized her story on Twitter. New all these months into the pandemic, we may have been testing the wrong way. Data from some state labs suggests that up to 90% of people who get a positive result are no longer contagious and don't need to isolate. Last month, the Centers for Disease Control issued new estimates that showed people under 50 years infected by COVID-19 have a nearly 100% survival rate. It broke down to a 99.997 survival rate for 0 to 19, 99.98% for ages 20 to 49, 99.5% for 50 to 69, and 94.6% for those over 70. So really, the flu, that's the age bracket that the flu kills as well. So, you know, those who died of coronavirus, according to the CDC, had an average of 2.6 comorbidities, meaning more than 2 chronic diseases along with the COVID. Overall, the CDC says 6% of people counted as COVID-19 deaths died of COVID-19 alone. Just 6%. So we've been lied to. The CDC's overall count shows a significant downward trend from a peak of 17,054 deaths on April 18th. A recent study by researchers at the Houston Methodist Research Institute raised concerns about coronavirus mutations as the fall season begins. Ooh, scare everybody again. Be scared, be scared. Have to wear your mask. Don't get near anybody. Don't even give eye contact. Yeah. There was a bar in London, actually, that was forbidding people from prolonged eye contact due to COVID. So I guess now we can shoot COVID out of our eyes at people. That's a cool ability, isn't it? Yeah, see, Donald Trump now, he's going to be able to shoot that COVID right out of his eyes. These people are stupid. Significantly, however, the Houston researchers found the mutations did not make the virus deadlier. And CDC's latest survival rate figures were cited by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis late last month at a roundtable he hosted with health experts from Harvard and Stanford prior to his decision to reopen bars and restaurants in his state to 100% capacity. People need to get back to work. They have to get back to work. The entire economy depends on it. There are people that need to put food on the table for their families. They can't do that if they're not working. Anyway, we're quarantining across the country, probably hundreds of thousands or millions of people who aren't even contagious. And I think that obviously has a huge cost to society that doesn't seem to be getting a lot of discussion now, the governor said. And oh, by the way, for Canadians, Trudeau has said that we all Canadians will pay for COVID through our taxes. Now, Canada has got to be one of the highest tax places on earth. But they're going to raise them now. So not only do we have a carbon tax, but we're going to have tax to pay for all the COVID, nonsense. Anyway, I'm gonna cut that off there because I think we've got what we need there. And let's go back because there's always more. There is. Now. Oh man, I meant to go out last night. And see this because it said, look up Tuesday, Mars will be the closest it gets to Earth until 2035. So, actually, I wanted to go out because I think it was last night that you were supposed to see it. It was the closest, but I think you can it's still visible. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know. You probably know that already, but it's interesting. Yeah, and they say it hasn't been this close to Earth in 17 years. And Mars, interestingly enough, is known as, well, Mars, it was named after the god of war. So it's the red planet. It's the warring planet. Anyway, I think tonight I am going to go out and bundle up and go out and take a look. All right. So let's go back now. I can't remember what this is, but... Oh, yes. Can you believe this? I know. Now, this website is a Red State Observer. It says Gavin Newsom's office tells diners to wear masks in between bites. These people have got to be out of their minds crazy. Seriously. I don't know what is wrong with these people. So you have to have the mask when you're entering the restaurant. You have to be socially distanced, and you have to put the mask. You can keep the mask on till your food comes. Then you can take the mask off, have a bite, then put the mask on while you chew, and take the mask off and take another bite. And he really expects people to do that. Well, I would say, thanks, but no thanks, and shove it up your hinder parts. I know that's not very nice of me, but this is ridiculous. This has gone, I mean, not even Nazi Germany had rules like that. Give me a break. Got to take your mask off in between, like you got to put your mask on in between bites. What dope are these guys smoking? Really? They certainly don't live in the real world. They don't. They're not in touch with real people at all. So, anyway, the Office of California Governor Gavin Newsom has told residents in the Golden State that if they go out to eat, they should be wearing a mask in between bites to protect themselves from COVID-19. Because we know that COVID-19 can only strike if you're not wearing your mask. So you have to limit that and like maybe just take it off, put a bite in it, you know, because we know how it likes to jump on you when you're not looking. Okay, and yeah, so I'm not going to get into any more of that ridiculousness, but folks of California, my heart goes out to you. Seriously, you are dealing with complete morons running your state, and I think you're probably aware of that. At least if you're listening to this channel and you're from California, you're probably well aware of that, and I feel bad for you. So many people, you know, call out California and say, well, those people deserve that. No, they don't. No, you know, there are very, very good people in California that deserve better. But unfortunately, there are others there as well that want these types of leaders who do nothing. I mean, look at their districts. Look at Pelosi's district, Maxine Waters. These people do nothing for anyone but themselves. All right. Let's come back here and let's go on because we can. And Donald Trump, flu season's coming up. Many people every year, sometimes over 100,000, and despite the vaccine, die from the flu. Are we going to close down our country? No, we have to learn to live with it, just like we are learning to live with COVID. In most populations, far less lethal. He's right. COVID is far less lethal in most populations than the flu. But, you know, they had to get those COVID patients into the nursing homes so that they could get those numbers up, right? Sad. All right, now, let's look at this because this is very interesting. I don't care who you are. It's interesting. Well, if it's going to let me go to there. Oh, I know why. We're going to have to do it this way. But it'll be worth it because I know you guys want to see this. Hang on here. I see what the problem is. Because I have that important at the end. which wasn't supposed to be part of the link. All right. Now, I'm not going to say this word on here because, for obvious reasons, or this word, okay? But they, meaning these people, patented COVID-19 biometric tests in 2015 and 2017. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So, interesting. Yeah, and here we are. System and method for testing for COVID-19. And these are the, well, it's in a different language, actually, so it's hard to tell. But that is what this is. Rothschild, okay. And there's, I guess, the patent information. I don't know, but it's fascinating. And I know people are going to say, well, COVID was around before COVID-19. I know. Still think it's odd. All right. Let's go back. And let's look at this, because this should concern everybody. Hide your children. Hide your wife. Hide any women that are around you. Seriously. Joe Biden, I want to see these young ladies dance when they're 4 years older. Sick. All right, politicians aren't always on target when they're out posturing for votes. In the case of Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, he missed the mark by a mile Monday night while campaigning in Miami. The 77-year-old did manage to remind voters of his propensity for behaving strangely towards girls and women, though at the Little Haiti Cultural Center, when courting the Haitian American vote, Biden uttered a statement that puts him on par with the awkward candidate we've come to know. At a town hall event that was broadcast on NBC, Biden used a French phrase about dealing a death blow to an opponent while simultaneously implying he'd like to watch young women dance for him. You can't make this stuff up. Think about this. Wouldn't it be an irony? The irony of all ironies if, on election eve, it turned out Haitians delivered the coup de grace in this election? Biden asked, according to the Washington Times. Yeah, I think the Haitians know what Joe Biden was involved in, but I could be wrong. Mind you, Biden's opponent, President Donald Trump, was in Washington after having just been released from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where he spent several days battling coronavirus. Per the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a coup de grace is a death blow or death shot administered to end the suffering of one mortally wounded. At the very least, the comment was in poor taste, but Americans should be accustomed to Biden making comments in poor taste. Where there's compassion for an adversary stricken with a virus Biden takes so seriously he wants to nationally mandate masks for people who leave their homes. All is fair in love and war, as one could say. Biden is battling for the White House, but it's difficult to ascertain if he is driven by love. Yeah, I don't think he's... So, ladies and gentlemen, good news is for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is I'm coming back, Biden told the crowd, his voice slightly muffled by the mask he wore for the outdoor event. I'm coming back, and I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too. Oh, I bet he does. One American news reporter, Jack Prosobic, shared video of the moment on Twitter, which appeared to show Biden speaking to an adult woman. Okay, Biden was making a comment about wishing to see women dancing in 4 years when he's reelected for a second term as president, right? Not so fast. Prosobiec shared a video of the same moment from a different angle. In the second video, Biden appears to be referring to a number of young girls. In this angle, you can see who he is talking to. So let's take a look.
Good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too.
Yeah, not so many claps on that. Because if that was my daughter, I'd be like, whoa, The comments were highly inappropriate at the very least. Well, that's what Biden is, highly inappropriate. He deserves no leeway on this head-scratching moment either. The former vice president has a well-documented history of making unwanted physical advances to women and girls, mostly young girls. He's also been accused of sexual assault by a woman named Tara Reid, who worked for him while he was in the Senate in the early 1900s, an allegation Biden has strongly denied. And why haven't they made any sort of a deal about that at all? They haven't even really covered it. And she is credible. As far as I'm concerned, she's very credible. So, but assuming the moment Monday in Miami was innocuous, where is Biden's judgment? Well, exactly. I'm sure when he's president, he'll be able to get all the young women in there he wants. Oh, wait, he's not going to be president. That's right. Oh, that killed me. So anyway, how could he not have the sense to realize that a man in his position and with his past cannot receive the benefit of doubt when seeing young girls? He says he wants to see them dancing when they're a few years older. Add the moment to many others that call into question Biden's moral fortitude and his mental acuity. Biden did himself no favors Monday in Miami, but he did add to the body of evidence that he is unfit to serve as president. Quite amazing how much trouble Biden can get himself into without Fox News host Chris Wallace alongside him to run interference. Good one. True. All right. Now, let's go back and see if there's anything else we need to absolutely, positively. Now, this is, I'm gonna hit on this, and this is the most bizarre thing. And we know this is just the fake media in action. We know that because we know the whole Russian thing is absolutely ridiculous. Harvard CNN analyst claims Russian agents were inside Walter Reed Hospital with Trump. Oh no, not Russian agents. Trump could just shoot COVID out of his eyeballs. He doesn't worry about any Russian agents. Right out of his eyeballs. Harvard professor, that's why they don't want you to look at people, you know, in case you shoot that COVID right at somebody. That's nasty, that you shouldn't do that. A Harvard professor has claimed, without proving a single shred of evidence, that Russian intelligence agents were able to gain access to Walter Reed Hospital, where President Trump recovered from coronavirus over the weekend. Okay. Juliet Kayam, who is a regular CNN analyst, well, that describes it. She works for CNN. So, yeah, it's got to be fake. Declared that it is very likely that Russian spies were there to gather information about Trump's condition. Oh, like, yeah, I'm sure they would just give that out. I'm sure those Russian agents just walked right up to the nurse's desk and said, "Excuse me, we'd like an update on Trump's, progress. What's the prognosis?" And I'm sure they just gave them all the information they needed. And how did they know they were Russian intelligence agents? Were they labeled? Russian intelligence agent number 1. Russian intelligence agent number 2. I guess they must have been. They must have been labeled. Anyway, she's a regular CNN analyst who can't analyze, apparently, declared that it is very likely that Russian spies were there to gather information about Trump's condition. Kayam, a senior lecturer in international security at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Oh, gosh. Glad, well, I don't have any children, but if I did, I certainly wouldn't want them to be studying under her. Tweeted out the bizarre proclamation along with hashtag Doctors Lie Too. Well, apparently that hashtag should be Juliet Lies Too, I would say, because that is the most ridiculous thing. There's no shred of evidence at all, but they run with it, of course. It's like running with a pair of scissors. Anyway, Kayam followed with a double down tweet asking, "What part of this don't you believe?" As if it was a perfectly perfectly rational claim to make. Well, you know, I find that with these people. If you call them on it, it's like they like, what part of this don't you understand? Like as if they're making sense and everybody else is not. It doesn't even make sense. Like, what is she basing this on? Nothing. Conjecture. That's it. So anyway, other Twitter users responded to the batshit insanity. I'm just reading what is there. This person, Daniel R. Birch, said, I find calling the doctors at Walter Reed Russian intelligence assets pretty freaking insane, but that's just me, I guess. And this person says, do you find it insensitive or unlikely? Just genuine curiosity as to why this made the list. And down here, this person said, hi, since questioning science is okay again, do doctors lie about the virus and its dangers or only info that benefits Republicans? Oh, and facts first, LOL. And it says, imagine how shocked I was when I saw CNN in your profile. I would never in a million years have imagined it. Sarcasm. Juliet, you should be writing for comedy. I agree. Kayam's assertions on Twitter are one thing, but her sometime employer, CNN, has been running programming claiming that Trump's doctors and staff are all lying and hiding the severity of his condition. Which they're not. This despite frequent video updates from Trump, reports about him working as normal from Walter Reed, and his discharge and return to the White House, where he stood and saluted last night before stepping back inside. Trump urged Americans not to let this situation dominate their lives and proclaimed that, as a leader, he had to return quickly. That's true. So anyway, that is that. Let me check on our time here. And we are at 56:46. So I think we are going to hit on this last one, and that will be it for tonight. But there'll be more. There'll always be more tomorrow. It's like the news. It's like doing the laundry. You know, reporting on the news is like doing laundry because you do it and you get it done. But the next day, there's dirty clothes again. So anyway. Pro-Antifa communist candidate is leading Ted Wheeler in Portland mayoral race. This is today, hot and fresh, hot and fresh. Yeah, you know you're in Portland when the current mayor, who has chased out countless businesses and allowed Antifa and Black Lives Matter terrorists to destroy the city on a nightly basis for over 4 months straight, is somehow not far enough to the left to appease the voter base. National laughingstock Ted Wheeler is now trailing in the polls for his re-election, but not against a candidate that promises to crack down on the rioters, promote businesses, and actually fix the roads. No, of course not. He's losing to a candidate that's even further to the left than he is. Plucky upstart Sarah Lanarone, who is best known for declaring, I am Antifa, now picks up 41% of the vote to Wheeler's 30%. Oh, prepare yourselves, Portland. All right, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler trails his challenger, Sarah Inarone. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, so forgive me. According to a poll of likely voters conducted by DHM Research on behalf of the Portland Business Alliance, the results were presented at the PBA meeting last week. Wheeler polled at 30% to Lanarone's 41%, with the remaining 29% of surveilled voters split between writing in a candidate, 16%, or remaining undecided, 13%. It's an especially notable result given that the poll was not conducted by either campaign. Though PBA is supporting the mayor, the poll has 4 percentage point margin of error. So, yeah. The results are somewhat surprising, given that Lanarone finished more than 20 points behind the mayor in the primary, in which Wheeler nearly received 50 plus one of votes required to avert a runoff. At the same time, Wheeler has faced intense criticism throughout the summer for his handling of protests and policing, and another recent poll conducted on behalf of a City Hall police accountability measure had Wheeler at 26% of favorability. So they're going to get rid of him because they're not happy with how he handled it, and they're going to vote in a woman who says, "I am Antifa." Well, good luck, guys. Lanarone was once spotted at an event wearing a skirt that featured several murderous communist dictators, including Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Che Guevara. And yeah, there she is wearing her little, so pretty easy to understand what she has planned for Portland. I feel very, very bad for the good people of Portland. So anyway, her explanation for wearing said skirt, and this person said, educate yourself. Fascism endangers us all. And this person says, what? Let me guess. Anyone to the right of Mao is a fascist in your narrow viewpoint? Anyway, her communist supporters defended her. Well, of course they always do. Anyway, that's enough of her. You're about to jump from the frying pan right into the fire, Portland. And I don't know. Trump has got to win this election. He's got to. Really. Because we have no other choice. He is the answer to this. Now, I don't know. There are things that may concern me, but nowhere near what concerns me about Joe Biden. So, and as a Christian, I could not, in good conscience, vote for Joe Biden, knowing what he stands for, knowing who he is as a person, etc. So, there you have it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end it there for tonight. And I will see you back tomorrow. Now, thank you guys so much. Those of you that donate regularly and those of you that support the channel monthly, you can do that through either Patreon or through Coffee now has a monthly option. So you can just give a one-time donation or you can give monthly. And so if you like the channel and you like the content, then consider supporting us. But never feel obligated. Everyone is always, always welcome here. Always. And always will be. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. And by the way, my tooth is getting better. The antibiotics are starting to work. And today I almost feel human. Not quite, but I'm getting there. So anyway. All right. Now, Friday, I do have a dentist appointment, and I don't know what I'll be like after the dentist appointment, but hopefully by the time everything wears off, I'll be able to do my show. So, all right, guys, that's it for tonight. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and stay you, really. You're the only you there is. Good night, guys.